Right, hello everybody. I thought I would do the cover today of this little journal. Okay, I had that's a topper, but that's going to go on the front. I had a piece of this that was already, I think that was the size of the packing sheets actually. Okay, and there's 3 of those together, and that is some like upholstery fabric. It's quite thick, so that is given quite a nice cover. It actually feels like leather now. That as well. It's yeah, that's been coffee stained and just marked up and that, but I can cover that anyway. So what I done then is I stuck the fabric on with that. Okay, and then I stitched all the way around the outside, and then on these ones I over sewed with zigzag stitch along there. Okay, because I thought that could go in. Now when I measure a piece of paper for a journal, so this is an odd size because it was just one of those things that was just lying around, and it was like 3 3/4 by 7.5. Okay, so I will measure I don't measure, I just sort of cut it off. I mark it and then cut it. So I've got that 1/4 inch bigger. Okay, taller. And the width will be, I have to have a bit for a spine. Okay, so at the moment the width, the width of that is measuring 4 1/4, so it's 1/2 inch each side. Okay, which leaves me about 1/2 inch for a spine. Yeah, it's, you can see, so that leaves me 1/4 inch there, so I've got 1/4 inch spare there, and then exactly the same that side. Okay, so that leaves me a bit of room for this to go around the journal. Yeah, but I just, once I've done this, it's not all full yet, so I've still got to think to myself, I still need a little bit of room because there's not tags in or anything yet. Okay, so that's why I leave the 1/4 inch. Right, so I just tend to wrap the piece around like that, measure that. I will then place that in there and measure that with a little bit of leeway and cut it off. I don't sort of get too much about measuring. And the same here, this was too long, so I thought, well, I'll tell you what, these can become pockets today, and that's what was left. Yeah, so what have I got? Nearly 2 inches there, look. Okay, so hopefully that will work out. And then after it's stuck down, yeah, and I've sewn it, right, I then go back and fold these over. I always dry mine flat like that. Okay, and then once it's done, I will fold it. Okay, these are going to be pockets, but I need to cover this first. Yeah, but I thought I would do the front of the journal first because I might want to stitch it on. Yeah, I hope that's yeah, I wish I started doing it. I'm thinking, why aren't I showing you? It's just because I know people do tend to struggle with covering, but that piece honestly is easy. It's just one piece, all right, and all you've got to make sure that it goes around your journal with a little bit. If you haven't got everything in it, like I said, leave about 1/4 inch. There's the line. I'll just show you where it is. All right, so that's on the spine there. Okay, that's my pocket, so that's what I leave. Yeah, and that gives me enough room then, because this is a single signature, so it's like one of the easiest journals to do, isn't it? So I might do a cover actually that you can I'm just wondering, that might even fit in there, but if it doesn't tuck inside, you know, like in here, I could leave that and then that could tuck in, right? But if not, I will do the elastic top and bottom there, so it's like a travel notebook cover that we can reuse, and you just take that out and then replace it. Right, I do like to sort of look at my cover with the journal inside Okay, I don't know, it just seems right to do that. Topper I made last year with one of the cluster kits. This is both actually, because they're both in here now. Yeah, but they're quite spring-like, so I think it will work. I think there is actually some spring words with one of them. But anyway, I'll put the 2 cluster kits down below. I was going to do a spring one this year, and I thought, oh, I've used a lot of the spring images in the one I done last year, so I'm not going to do that. That actually could be a pocket if you wanted to do that, but I don't. I think I'm going to have this like this, and I'm thinking, okay, if we got a tie, that will go about here, so that's okay. What I want to do is use a doily. So let's have a look. And I think I'll let it go to the back. Yeah, it's, I think, a little bit more over. Might have to just tuck that, because I don't want that hanging too much over there with that raw edge, but we'll see. Okay. Yeah, because I still would put something down there, so that's all right. And I thought, just because it's, you know, quite plain at the back there, I would run a bit of this around. No idea where this come from, folks. As a bit of a sort of an embellishment, and I might even carry on and put it through there. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Right, let's start. Right, it's not a pocket, so I haven't got to worry about reinforcing any of this. All right, so let's get this first in place. Let's have a look, see what that looks like. That's quite good, actually. Yep, that's fine. Right, so I'm gonna stick under here, because I know this isn't going to show here. Yeah. Yeah, this is not the 3-in-1 at the moment. Well, 3-in-1 still looks, you can still see that through. I have noticed that, but the Fabri-Tac you don't. But this one I know you're not, it's going to be fine because it's going to be covered. Okay. I'm just wondering if it's a little high, so I'm just going to drop down just a bit there. Yeah, I think that's about right there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Right, I can actually take this out for a minute now. I'm going to do a running stitch. Okay, that's fine. Sort of like, I might do it actually 2 running stitches in between those blue lines there. Yeah, I've got white in my machine, so that's all right. So I might put cream in there, so that'll be better because this is quite off-white as well. Okay. Okay, so I stitched along there, and I actually stitched along the red line as well. Okay, because this is all going to be covered up, so that's all right. Okay, well, I'm going to finish this in a minute. I'm going to seal this because, again, it's only thin paper. I might actually back that, to be honest, because that is only printer paper. So I don't want anything too thick. File folder is not best. Oh, that's all right. That's medium. That's about 180. So I am going to back this, and I'm going to seal it with some. You can do it with Mod Podge. I'm going to do it with acrylic sealer because it's right in front of me. Okay, and I will most probably glossy accent the flower and the butterfly. Let's do that. Give that a bit more strength, wouldn't it? Because it is going on the cover after all, so. This is the one I've got. People do ask me all the time where I get that. I get it from Art Van Gogh, which I'll write it on the screen. But I know in America you struggle to find it. That's fine, but you can use Mod Podge. And if, I don't know, if you go to a local art place and ask them what they use to seal acrylic paintings, because that's what it's used for. So there's got to be something that you use over there. So, and it's water-based. I most probably, this is quite quick drying. I will do a couple of coats. Okay, it's very matte. Whereas sometimes when you use Mod Podge, that can be a little bit too shiny for me, because I want the shininess to come from the flower and the butterfly. So I shall do another layer of that in a minute, but while that's drying, there's a couple of things that I'm going to do. So one of them is, right, I've got the scrapbook paper. It's quite bright. It's quite blue. Okay, so I'm going to, I've cut that the same size as the inside there, except I've come away from here a little bit. All right, so I've got a little bit of room for that, and there's no pucker in here. Okay, but what I'm going to do with this is add a little bit of green, because this is our journal if we see it. Okay, which is quite bright, isn't it? But we can tone that down. It's just scrapbook paper. So I'm going to use a bit of that because I've used this through the journal, Twisted Citron, and most probably some, I'll just ink up the edges and just see what happens. This is quite bright, so it's cool. I'll just get that dry a minute. First thing I'm going to do is ink up around the edges. Okay, which you're not going to see that anyway, but and then I'm going to use my little mixture, and this is bit of tea, bit of coffee, some of the Distress Stain, bit of water, and alcohol. Okay, and that keeps the tea and coffee fresh. All right, now do that. I'm going to dry that a minute. That's quite diluted, that one, so 100% dry. All right, the coffee didn't work that much on there because it's not white. I've got that one made up to really work with white. Yeah, so I'm going to use a bit of the oxide. Okay, put a bit of water on, and I'm going to dip it in. Okay, just don't tone that green down because it is quite bright, that green. I think we're getting there, actually. This is turning out really nice here. I don't know what's happened there, but it's lovely. Might be because it's wet. See what happens. That's quite nice. That's lovely. Perfect. Let's have a look. That's fine. That's good. Right. So this is now going to go in here. Yeah, and I will stitch round again. Right, now this one I do glue down. I use glue stick. Actually, I use this one here. Still the glue stick. That one's a little bit gloopy now. I'm going to do this all through, like, the middle, and then I will go around with some good glue around the outside, but I am still sewing mine in. All right, but I'm just going to get all that in there. Sure that's the right way. Yeah, I don't think it matters actually. Not this one. Slightly over there. Yeah. Fine. You just got to let it dry before you start moulding it into shape. Leave that dry now. I'm going to put another coat on the topper you saw me do. Okay, and then I am most probably, I feel as though I want to put a little bit of gesso on this fabric, just a little bit. Okay, yeah, and ink up the edges and stuff to make it a little bit more grungy. I'm going to leave that as it is, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I'll come back in a minute when that's dry and I've stitched around. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch all the way around again. All right, and then actually this is what I'm going to do. Okay, that is going to be, I'm going to stitch around like that. Yeah, I'm going to go down here, right, and down there. Then I'm going to shut that. Yeah, and I'm going to stitch along that way and along the top. All right, so that then creates our pockets. Right, okay, that's nice and dry now. Let's have two coats on. Okay, there's only some slight sheen, I don't know whether you can see it, but that's nice and protected now. This is flat enough. Okay, and I'm going to use this diamond glaze, definitely the butterfly. It's quite a big nozzle, this one, see. Prefer the nozzle to the small, definitely. Ugh. Yeah. So I'll get that out in a minute with a pin. Yeah, not so easy with this big nozzle. I think I might decant it actually and put it in my other one. Right, pin. Where you mustn't squeeze or shake these bottles because this is what happens. Okay, I have bled there a little bit. Glossy Accents is brilliant. This one's a little bit on the runnier side, I will say. But I find Glossy Accents quite expensive. That bubble there that won't go away, look. Come on. I'm not sure we can use a lighter on like resin. So I'm not going to. I'll just bring you off to the edge. You must do this on a flat surface, so. Okay. So I'm spreading it with this pin because the nozzle is not fine enough for me. Okay. We did have a little bit of bleed there, didn't we? Right, that's it. Yeah. And I'm going to put a bit in the middle. I don't know how to squeeze it either. So a great big bubble come out there, look. So I'm going to do what I've done there and then use a pin to spread out. Right. Oh, look at that big bubble. There we go. Big one's all right, actually. I have the silicone ones I use for resin. They're brilliant. Actually, I think they're for nails. I always like to do this off of the journal, really, just in case everything goes wrong. Yeah, and you haven't ruined your whole cover, so you can easily make another topper. But half the time, I even forget I'm going to do this until it's too late, so. And I leave that overnight, don't touch it. Because I am definitely one of these that go, oh, I wonder if that's dry. So I always do it at the end of the day now and leave it. Okay, I haven't done the leaf there. I just want the flower. And we'll leave that alone till tomorrow. And I'm going to adjust the cover a little bit now. And I'll leave that alone until tomorrow as well. Okay, what's the gesser I'm using at the moment? That one. I'm still using that from I bought these at the show, not the last one in September, the one pre-COVID. So I didn't buy any this year because I thought I've still got another litre of this. But they were really, really cheap, so that's why I got some. This is a dry brush, okay. I am going to come off a bit. So I tend to work, if you notice, because it's being left-handed, I always slant my work. Yeah, I'll start at the back. Had to look then. Okay. Okay, that's great. Leave that. I ink that up a bit then. Then that's toned everything sort of together. Actually, this is a little bit dry. I might do it now. And then that's done. And all I've got to show you then tomorrow, so I'll slice the video together, is when the not stitching it on, gluing the other thing on. You can, you know, if you wanted to stitch the topper on, then do that before you do, you know, this bit here. But because I glazed it, I sort of had to let it dry really, but I got on. But I'm going to stitch around mine and then I'm going to glue mine on, so it will be fine. I use my good glue. So let's just give that a quick dry. Okay. Right, I'm just gonna put a bit on first, but I don't know how much is on this. Very little, I think. So yeah, but it's enough. Yeah, you look, that's perfect. So I'm just gonna go around. And not too worried about this inside anyway, because that's quite squengy. That's it. And then go to the front. Yep, there we go. See, there was enough on there. It's great. And the top is going to go there, and that's toned everything down now. Okay, do you see it's just blended everything in, and it seems to go better with, you know, what I'm doing. So that feels gorgeous. Actually, I'm going to make some more covers out of that, because it's that plain, even though there's a bit of a stripe there. You can put some, you know, put things on to make it not so plain. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, right, so I'll see you soon. Okay, this is all done now. It's all finished. Okay, so that's all nice and shiny now. Yep, and I will elaborate a little bit on here. Okay, which I can do now, or I might do that in a minute actually. I'm going to put the grommets in, okay, because I'm going to put them here because my journal don't quite fit in the pockets. So that says if I wanted to use the pockets, I would have had to done it slightly bigger, okay, because I was thinking that it could, in theory, go in there and then in the other one, but I'm not going to do it that way now because it don't fit. So it needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, and you do have to watch this as well. All right, so I'm going to put the grommets right on the end. Oh, and it's turned out nice with the gesso on. Yeah, just sort of made it look, you know, like the journal inside. Okay, yeah, you have to be careful here. So I've put the setting on the closest one to here. Okay, so it literally just goes in there, and then I center that. You can do it with two, okay, but I'm only doing it with one today, one piece of elastic. Okay, and that goes there. Okay, so I need as much room as possible. So, and there, center that. Okay, and then put the grommets in. It says Traveler's Notebook style cover, really, I suppose. That's that one. Yeah, and if anything sticks up here, just hammer it down. And there. And if one grommet goes wrong, you can dig them out. Sometimes you catch it wrong. There we go. Okay. And that's there. That's all right. Just got a little bit there sticking up. So, oops. Yeah, cascades quite quickly. I have to do it on the wooden bit here, not on the glass. So, yeah, I have a flat jewelry making one, and I used to hammer metal years ago. Didn't use it a lot, that's why it looks like new. Yeah, that's great. Okay, and then with this, I'll just thread that through. Sorry, yeah. This is the simplest, you can't get much simpler than this, so just do a bit. And I haven't stretched it yet, so that's plenty. And I use 1.5 mil. I found 1 mil too thin and 2 mil too thick, so I use that. And when you do the double one, you've got another strand here, so you can actually put more things in. So I pull that tight because they do loosen after a while. Okay, so that's, you know, not too tight or else it'll damage your pages. I leave that until I know that the book goes in, because sometimes I've done it too tight. Okay, I haven't finished this yet, so I'll just put it in loosely now, but I will be stitching this signature together. Okay. And that will sit in there, and I think that's going to be fine. Yep. There we go. That sits in there lovely, and that sits on there. Okay. I mean, you can put one here to go round, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put ribbon on mine, so, or some sari silk. All right, I don't want the elastic, but you could, what you do is you make a hole in the middle here, and then you knot through, got a loop, and then it'll go right way around. Okay, but I don't want to do that, so, but I'm liking that. That's fine. And the black doesn't look wrong because you've got a bit of black in the butterfly here. Okay, so that's that. And then I've got a little, what I've got here is one of the sayings I've got, and not sayings, you know, springtime, one of the word topper things. And then I've just got a bit of spotty green fabric, which is this one here. Okay, and some scraggles, a bit lace, just all torn up. Yeah, so that's going to go sort of there. And then I thought at the top here, I'd have a little flower. So what I'm going to do is ink this up, not ink it up, glue this ready. Where the fabric is. Put a bit more in the middle, because we know that's there, so. It's going to go about there, I think. Just a little bit over. That's not touched. Okay, haven't stuck mine down yet. Okay, I'm going to put this underneath, I think. We'll use that up. Sort of in that corner there. Okay, and I thought I'd have one of these little flowers. I'll straighten that up in a minute. I'm not worried about it. These are off of this because I'm going to use that at the top. Okay. Can press down. If there's any little bits, once it's dry, I'll cut them off then. Okay, that needs to be stuck down quite well. And now, and I'll go back over that in a minute once that's dried a bit. And I think I carry on. I thought that would look nice, maybe with that up there for another texture. Yeah. And while that's all drying, I will sew my signature together into that little cover. So then at least this way, you can, once you've filled the journal up and done it, you can either take it out and replace it. Oh, and I just put some of this underneath at the top there. I thought that looked nice. So it's just that cheesecloth, muslin, anything that's like that, or bandage. You can get bandages like it. Right, okay, I think that's stuck down. Right, let's just take this out. Being careful because I don't want to move everything on the front. Take that out. Yeah, leave that alone to dry now.